freshman. So let me know if you guys have like, any question.
Hi, my name is Amal. I'm from Uzbekistan, and we've arrived together with Uday actually at the same semester through the same orientation. But I'm a senior this year doing cognitive science, and it's my third year doing work with the KIC, peer mentoring, meeting people. So yeah, we're here for your support to support
Uh,
you.
yes. No, you're good. Usually, I know I usually advertise our social media on our webinars, but just to let you guys know, again, Amal, Uday, and two other students are the brains behind our social media stuff. I will leave that in the chat. I think it's a great way to kind of get familiar with the student life on campus. We try our best to show, or we do show our very authentic side of what being an international student at Minnesota State Mankato is like. Uday and Amal are great advocates for that, and they do a great job of showing you guys campus and what their day-to-day life is like. Yesterday, we posted a day in the life for Uday, which I really liked. It's very quick. I'm also on YouTube now, so if there's any chats, we usually leave the questions towards the end of the session. But it looks like people already have great questions. So we will get to the questions at the end of the session. I think we should just start by talking about housing really quickly. I am going to share a very quick PowerPoint on what I had, and Amal and Uday, please chime in whenever necessary, because again, I'm talking about on-campus housing. I've personally never lived on campus. That's the only reason why. So let me share my screen for you guys. Okay, housing. Does this screen look okay? Is it like full screen? Cool. Okay. So housing is ultimately a very personal choice. I usually tell students that ultimately whether you choose to live on campus or off campus is your choice. We do not require students to live on campus. However, we do find that students that live on campus tend to have higher GPAs and also a much higher rate of being involved on campus because you're on campus, everything's closer. It's a lot easier for you to get to events, get to meetings and things like that. Minnesota does get a little cold in the winter time, so living on campus is also very helpful because you can just use all of our buildings on campus are connected. And so in the winter time, you don't have to walk out in the snow to get to your classes, which is really helpful. But with on-campus housing, and again, guys, please leave your questions in the tab and we'll get to them, but it's going to be a lot of information that we're providing you today. And so this can be very overwhelming. Please remember that our webinars are live streamed on YouTube, and then the recorded sessions are available for students at the end of our sessions. So if at any point you missed something, you can always go on our YouTube after and rewatch the video. But you have three options when it comes to housing. We have on-campus housing, which you'd live in the dorms. Yeah. We have a university apartment. This is essentially an apartment complex or a residence community, but it's affiliated with the university. So it's technically a dorm, but it's off campus and it's an apartment style if you still choose to be affiliated with the university. Or your third option is to just completely live off campus. Again, I've always lived off campus. Uday and Amal are now living off campus. So again, you can do a mix of both. You can start living on campus and then eventually, if you'd like, you can move out. There are a few types of rooms when we're talking about on-campus dorms. Depending on what kind of room you're looking at, the pricing is also going to change. We have a basic room, a renovated, and a semi-suite. The semi-suites are the most expensive, or like on the higher end of pricing. However, you will also have the option of living in a one-room apartment. I mean, one dorm room by yourself, but that's also going to cost a lot more. So ultimately, it comes down to what your budget is, how many roommates you want, and what kind of I guess, sharing situation you want. Amal and Yudai, do you want to talk about what kind of rooms you stayed in and what was the thought process into like choosing those rooms, or if you had a choice, or how that worked?
I can go ahead and
I
start.
had a. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Sorry.
you can go ahead.
But when I first applied, I chose Julia Sears as my top choice, and then I think it was Fresca, but then eventually I was assigned to McElroy. And if you're assigned to something that is not your top choice and there are still openings, you can apply to reassignment before you arrive on campus. So do that very early and check your emails, because this is where all of the updates are coming to you. And so you'll know where you are assigned, your roommates are. And if you want to change that, you will also tap different links from your emails. The thought process behind choosing a specific dorm was mainly because of the rooms, how they look like, and where the dorm is located. Although the campus is not very big, you don't have to drive around it. You can get everywhere in 10 minutes walk. Julia Sears was primarily interesting to me just because it was close to all of the classes that I had, to the buildings where I spend most of the time, so I wouldn't have to walk through the whole campus. And I think the rooms, okay, the rooms. My room, I am not sure what, I think it was a semi-suite. And the importance for the semi-suite for me was that the semi-suites have their own bathrooms. So we do share them still, but we share them with less amount of people, and we don't have to go outside in the hallway, which is still fine. But for me at the moment, with some of the like personal issues, I had to have my own bathroom, since I knew I could create issues for other users if I stay there too long. But yeah, that was the rationale. I love the semi-suites, and I love the renovated rooms too. The renovated are very, very nice.
Again, like the dorms are first come, first served. So the earlier you apply, the higher your chances of getting the room that you've personally want to live in. And so I will go over the application process and the deadlines in just a moment here after Udai kind of shares his experience, so that you guys can kind of see what the application process is like. I know a few of you guys had questions about the leasing and all of that, so we'll get to it. Just Udai, do you want to kind of share where you live and all of that?
I think I live in a basic one. So I live in McElroy, and my floor is mixed gender, but my room is like same gender. A student. My experience living dorm is like, oh, it was like first time living like somebody in like the room. Well, I thought it was when I got here, my English wasn't good, so it was really hard to communicate with them. But like they were really nice to me. Um, so the living dorm was like really, really good experience for me because it was easy to make a lot of friends. I see them a lot on the campus, and there's a lot of events and meetings, floor meeting. So yeah, I made so many friends like living dorm.
Yeah, I think it's a really good opportunity for cultural exchange as well when you're living with people. So how it usually works is you have floors and then you're in the rooms. Basic and renovated have a community bathroom, which is again a pretty large bathroom. It's not like there's only one shower stall or anything like that. It's a pretty big community space. And all of the residential dorms also have a kitchen or a community kitchen. So if you're living in the dorms, you do have to get a meal plan. However, if every now and then you kind of miss food from home, you can use that community kitchen to just quickly make something really quick and still have that ability to, cook and stuff. For people that don't like cooking at all and you just don't want to try it, even if you live off campus, you can still choose to purchase a meal plan, but if you're living in the dorms, you do have to get the meal plan. So just to let you guys know, I'm going to go ahead and share the application process that's on the website currently, and I'll also leave a link in the chat for you guys to just click on. You guys can browse around, but let's go ahead and do that really quickly. Okay. Awfully quiet in here. This is awkward. Okay, so this is the housing website that is available for you guys to kind of take a look at. This is specifically for international students, which is perfect because the process can be a little different. And then here's a video of international students that are living on campus, so feel free to watch it. They share their personal stories, which is awesome. And then I'm going to share this link in the tab. But here you're going to see that space on campus is limited. So you need to apply as early as possible. That is something I always tell students, especially if you're looking for housing. Even if you're living off campus, have the apartment ready before you get to the US, unless you have the funds to stay in a hotel until you get an apartment off campus, which is going to rack up. Get the apartment or your housing before you come to the US. It's going to make the process easier for you and less stressful. Housing applications opened October 7th. So this opened the beginning of this month for spring 2025, which is January. And if you are looking to live in the fall, live in the campus, on campus in the fall, I know someone had asked about what the terms look like. So if you're looking to stay in the fall as well, you can apply for housing for both terms. So you'll see when you're starting the application, it'll ask you what term you want to stay for. Usually housing applications or like housing agreements are 9 months. Unless you're coming in the spring, then you have the ability to renew it for spring and fall. But usually it's typically a 9-month agreement that you sign. So you can't just live here on campus for 3 months and then say, actually, I don't want to stay here anymore. There is a process that you have to follow. You can't just come and then leave whenever you want. So just keep that in mind. The first thing for you to do is obviously apply to our university, which all of you guys watching have done. You guys are admitted. But the biggest thing is apply. Once you're admitted, your housing and dining portal or your e-services where you go is where the housing application is. So you're going to complete your housing application. What's really great about this website is they also have a how-to on how to complete your housing application, which is very easy to follow. Have this open when you're doing your housing applications if you have questions. And if you have any more questions, you should reach out to residential housing because we don't necessarily work with the application process and they'd be the best contact for you. You're signing the housing contract. And again, it's a contract. Once you sign it, it's legally binding. You can't just cancel it whenever you want. So remember to read the terms and conditions and make sure you understand them before you sign it. You do have to complete a $250 prepayment, and that is just to reserve your room. So it's all going to be done on e-services. If you completed your application, your student application, it's going to be the same process of submitting the payment. Again, if you want to move out whenever you want, you cannot because the housing contract commits you to that specific time frame. So make sure you know what you want. Make sure you want to live in the dorms. Make sure you read the terms and conditions before you sign the lease. Do you guys have any other advice, Uday and Amal?
Yes, so there are a lot of interesting questions that kind of relate to that right now, so I would like to cover that. So we talked about the meal plans, and the meal plans are something, there are 3 different options. You can either take 160 meals per semester that you purchase, and you will use that 160 throughout the semester, no matter when and no matter how. You can visit you can use 5 dining passes in one day. You can use one of them, and This is just how you will do that. We also have 14 meals per week, which is the meal plan that allows you to enter the dining center 14 times in a week. And if that's your best option, then you can also get that one. But I prefer the anytime one, and it's also the most popular. The anytime one allows you to enter the dining center whenever you want, however many times you want throughout the whole semester. So what you'll do is when you apply for on-campus housing or even off-campus housing can also have the option to get the meal plan only. Um, you will pick the meal plan that you want, um, pay that through your e-services, and everything will be added to your mouth card. You will have that card. So when you go to the dining center, you will just tap the sensor and it will read that you have the meal plan and that you can go in. So that's how it works. There are also dining dollars, and the dining dollars can be used in the dining center to pass. They can also be used in the Centennial Student Union, where we have different vendors like Taco Bell, Chick-fil-A. I think we also have the Firehouse Subs, and you can purchase foods with the dining dollars there. However, the meal plans only work for the dining center. For the billing information, you will be billed for the semester. So once you see the bill in your e-services, that's the bill for your for the housing for the fall semester or spring semester that you're coming in. Once you're done with that semester, you will be billed for the next one through the e-services again. So you would not have to pay for 9 months right away. And from January until the end of the spring semester is what you will pay for the first time. And then when you sign the housing, what you will do is you will just pick the spring, and then you can prolong that to summer. The summer housing will probably move you to another dorm, as some of the dorms close for the summer. If you're staying in McElroy or I think it was Krakowski, then you probably don't have to move anywhere. And then from the summer housing, you can prolong that to fall again. Okay. What is the USD to dining dollar? Oh, conversion rates. I think it can be found on the website through the link that PJ sent. And there was also that interesting question that I'm struggling a little bit to answer. So if I arrive around 26th to 31st December, do I get to leave on campus, and how does it work in terms of food, extra payment, etc.? I can answer for sure that the food will be open by the beginning of the January. So the dining hall will probably be closed. I'm not sure if the vendors will work. I think they will stop at some point. So you would have to cook on campus. There are kitchen facilities, but and there are also buses that will take you to the grocery shopping, and you can do the grocery shopping and cook your meals on the campus kitchen. For whether you will get an on-campus living, I would say make sure you email the residential life and ask if you can have the early arrival and when the early arrival starts. Because I know that the move-in day is about like the first dates of the January, and if they do have the early move-in for you that they can offer, you can do that. And that I think costs $25 per day. That
Yeah,
you're
I think that's kind of changed a little bit. And also, like you said, I would double check with the residential that they're even doing early check-in. Sometimes we don't do early check-in, which means you can only move in on the day that your agreement starts. So if that's the case and they say that they cannot accommodate you early, then you need to find other accommodations temporarily for the time being. We do have a couple of hotels very close to campus, so you can choose to stay there until your dorm is open for you to be able to move in. This is one reason why I always say to kind of prepare in advance and make sure you have all of your information before coming here. We cannot provide you guys with temporary housing as the Kearney International Center. We do get a bunch of emails every semester from students that say, hey, do you guys provide temporary housing? I don't know what I'm doing. And during those situations, the most we can do for you is to refer you to the hotels that are close to campus. So just make sure you're preparing in advance. Just make sure you have everything in order, and email us before you get here if you have any questions, because that's the best way for us to be able to assist you. All right, let's see. Oh my goodness, Amal, you are on top of answering all the questions.
Thank you.
I can't get a close appointment. And then you already answered about the dining dollar conversion rate. So essentially, when we say $250 dining dollars, it basically means $250. There's no conversion. That's just the amount that's in your account. I think that's what the question was. Since what day does insurance start and what documents do we need for insurance? You pay for insurance during orientation. That's the first thing that you have to pay for. It is mandatory. It's required that you pay for insurance. And only after you pay for your health insurance is when you're able to register for your classes. So that is an amount that we always tell students to make sure they have, because if you don't pay for insurance, you're not able to register for your classes. And that just brings up a whole list of issues. So just make sure you have that amount. The amount is listed on our website. So go on there and take a look at that. This question is more so for me, so I'll just answer it really quickly. Hi, PJ, I've come for spring semester, but I cannot get a close appointment date. What should I do? Hi, Sandra. If you're unable to get a close appointment date for spring 2025, I would recommend that you defer your application to fall 2025. Our deferral application process is also on our website with step-by-step on how to do it. And that just makes it easier so that you can get your I-20 on time, and hopefully you can get a visa appointment closer to fall 2025 versus unless you can get an expedited emergency interview. But depending on where you're located, it might be harder to get. So
I was gonna jump in with that one. In my experience, as a student applying for student visa, I didn't have that date open too close to the semester, so I'm made sure that I can go, and I can get everything ready before I fly to the US. But some consulate centers have that expedited appointments for students, and how that worked for me. Well, I read the instructions on the website, so I recommend doing the same before you do anything else. But how that worked for me is that I had to email to the consulate center to state that I'm applying for a visa. I didn't get my appointment yet. Is there a possibility to expedite the appointment? And they replied to me very quickly, making the appointment the next week since the moment I emailed. So that really helped.
what about you, Yudai?
Oh, I think my situation kind of rare because I went to English Academy before, before coming here, and they set up all document for me. So I had no idea how it goes. Yeah. If there's any question about personal stuff, I can answer it, but not about document stuff. I think Amor knows everything.
Amal does know a lot.
True.
Yeah.
Someone asked about insurance, so I'm going to share my screen really quickly again and show you guys what the costs look like. I have already done a webinar on payments in the past. So if you go on our YouTube, you'll probably be able to see that. But just for really quickly to show you guys how much you have to make sure you pay for orientation, I'm going to really quickly do this, and then we're going to move on to off-campus housing. So here's the breakdown for tuition, as you can see. Insurance is $2,640. for the whole academic year. So that would be for fall through spring. If you're coming in the spring, it is a deducted amount, but then again, in the fall, you'd have to pay for the full amount. So if that makes, I don't know if I'm making sense. Am I making sense? I am, right? So this is an amount that you have to pay before you're even able to register for classes. So just make sure you have this amount at least. Everything else gets reflected into your account after you've registered for classes and towards the beginning of the semester. So just to let you guys know. Someone said, what is the room term for spring like from January to what month?
I'm
You
looking.
want to answer?
And me?
I think,
Yes.
Oh,
go ahead.
so July to, was it May? No, more. Yeah, May.
January to May, yeah.
Yeah, like right after like final week. Right.
So once you finish up your semester and you're done with all of the finals, they will have 2 more days for you to leave on campus. And then you are either signing the summer housing, some people are going back home for the rest of the semester, or for the rest of the semester, I'm sorry, for the summer break, or searching an off-campus living and staying there for the rest of the studies.
Amazing. All right, because I think we're right on time to talk about off-campus housing. I personally always lived off campus when I was a student myself, only because that was just what my mom wanted me to do. I would have preferred to live on campus for at least a year to get that full university experience, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. But we have streamlined the process a lot more for our students, especially if you're looking for off-campus housing. I will share the link in the chat in just a moment here, but I'll show you guys a website where all of the apartments off campus are consolidated into one website, which means you are able to compare prices, filter things to 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, how many you want. Because I see that a lot of people in the dorms have questions about living off campus. I think this will be really useful for you. I will share this in the chat in just a second. So this is our off-campus housing website that we have set up for our students. You are able to log in as a guest if your Star ID doesn't work. Basically, this will give you a breakdown of all the apartments that are available close to campus. You can zoom in if you want to just focus on like a specific area, as this is the dorm room. This is the university right here. So these ones are very close to campus. Highlands is probably one of the apartment complexes that are very, very close to the university. Walking distance just makes things a lot bit easier. So you can click on that and then you can kind of see what they have available. So here, I just clicked on that and it brought me right here to this consolidated page where they have availability. So they have a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, $800 a month for one person. Or if you have dependents, then, depending on how big the unit is, it might fit. It's available August 1st, 2025, which is next year. So this also will tell you when apartments are available. So you can kind of estimate. Since a lot of you guys are coming here in the spring, I would actually go back and maybe let's do 700 as a pricing option. And then let's leave it there. I know that there's a way to filter move-in dates. So see move-in range. So let's see. I know some of you guys are going to be here in January. So let's do January through February, or December through January, actually. My bad. That will, here you go, filter it out, and you're able to get even like an actual list of apartments that are available during the time that you would potentially be moving in. With most apartments off campus, or all apartments off campus, like there is a leasing agreement when you live on campus, it's the same thing for off-campus housing. It's a 1-year lease term generally. It's a legally binding contract, and once you sign it, it's official. This is something that students, I think, sometimes think you can just not, after you've already signed it, just not be a part of it. That's not how it works. So you have to be mindful of the fact that when you're signing a lease, you're essentially saying, hey, I'm going to be living here. As you can see, there's some options here. This is literally a townhouse. So there's 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. So if you know people that are coming from the same country you are, you guys can just get this whole house or this townhouse and live together. This is also very close to campus as well. What was you guys' process like, Amal and Yuda, in terms of signing your lease off campus? What are the biggest advice you have for students that are looking to sign, or what's some things that they need to watch out for?
So what I care is like the price and how comfy the room is. So I live with one roommate, and this room has like 1 bedroom and no, two bedroom and 2 bathroom. So we don't have to share the bathroom. But like prices around 500 or like between 600, which is quite cheap for me. Yeah, because if it goes to like 600, 700 per month, I can't afford for it because I'm paying for rent by myself. So think about like its running cost for me. So I want to make it like as cheap as possible. And also like next to my apartment, there's like Chinese restaurant, which is like my favorite restaurant. So I really wanted to live close to it because I love it. Yeah, that's the best point for me.
Yuda, you don't cook very much, do you?
No.
I don't either. So it's nice to live closer to restaurants because then you can just get food. Especially the Chinese restaurant. I think their portion sizes are really big too. So
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
usually make 2 meals out of like 1 meal,
Hmm.
which is good. You're saving money, girl math. Um, I will actually share a really quick, it's really wordy, so I'm just going to be pinpointing specific things in the PowerPoint, but I think it's very important for you guys to see in terms of what off-campus housing can be like. Amal, if you want to share your experience while I'm doing this, please feel free to do so.
Sure. My biggest advice for all people who are seeking the off-campus housing is to search for that early. Don't put it until the last minute because a lot of the apartments are signed early and you won't get the space you need or you want if you will put that until the last minute. Look at all the contracts, make sure you understand what the housing provides for you. You mentioned the location, but I will highlight this again because that was very important for me. If you don't have um, any transportation or the buses are not coming to your location, it's worth considering something where you can have a bus or an apartment that is a walking distance from campus. Um, and that's my biggest thing. I applied for full semester and I'm living in Highland Hills. I applied in February, so I was in the beginning or the middle of the spring when I applied for fall. So that's how early I had to do this, but it would be easier when you're coming in January, but still try to do that as early as possible. Um, but yeah, that's the overall thing.
Um, okay, thank you so much for sharing your experience, guys. This is like exactly why I wanted you guys here because both of you guys have pretty similar but also very different experiences in terms of, looking for housing. Here is a really quick, brief overview. Sometimes I forget that not everybody knows what a lease is, or not everybody knows what a contract really stands for. So on the screen here right now, you can see it says lease can range from 6 months to 1 year, which means it's an official legally binding contract. Typically, it's always been, in my case, it's always been 1 year, and I'm assuming it's the same for you, Diana Mall. It's a 1-year lease. Apartments also, when you apply, you have to apply for the apartments. You can't just show up at the office and say, hey, what do you have available? I know some people do that, but I do not recommend it. When you do apply for your apartment, they will always require a security deposit, which is basically like a security blanket, so that when you move out of the apartment, if you damage the apartment, that security deposit will cover all the damages. And you also generally have to pay first month and last month's rent. Security deposit, in my experience, has always ranged between $200 to $250. So when you are thinking about living off campus, you need to all think about these, like, these amounts in your head, that it's not just going to be 1 month $500 rent. You're also going to have to think about security deposit. So now that's what, $750. And then if you're also paying the last month's rent, that's like $1,700. So remember that apartments will require a security deposit and your first month and last month rent. So when you are signing a lease, make sure you have those funds available. Because if you don't pay those funds, they're not going to secure that apartment for you. Subleasing, I feel like it gets too complicated when I start talking about subleasing. But subleasing essentially is you're taking over someone else's lease. So if someone is moving out in December and you're coming in December, you can take over their lease when they move out. But what that means also is that if they have damages in the apartment and you take over that lease, now those damages are your responsibility. And when you are abroad, like internationally, and you cannot see the apartments in person, it's very hard to know if an apartment is actually like livable or if there's any damages or not. So be really careful about subleasing. If that's the only option available, then make sure you get pictures and photos from the person that's living there. Another thing that students always ask is, well, what about furniture? How much money am I spending on furniture? That's where there's two options. Apartments, you can either get furnished, which means they're gonna have like basic furniture there already. So like bed frame, study desk, maybe a dresser, or you can get an unfurnished apartment. Yudai, was your apartment furnished?
No, like it was completely empty. So we have to like furniture from scratch. But like the local community in the school gave us like free furniture, like furniture giveaway. And we got couch, we got table, we got a lot. Like we got TV, what we call TV desk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TV stand.
So we don't really have to pay. We don't really have to pay for like the furniture stuff, which is really good for me.
What about you, Amal? I know yours was also unfurnished, right?
Yes, mine was unfurnished. I ordered a lot of the furniture from Amazon, and I was able to find um like a very affordable options, and yeah, that was nice. But I also participated in like different garage sales. And sometimes in the garage sales, you can find a lot of the decorations, useful like little utilities for your bathroom or something like that. And that's very cheap. Sometimes at the end, if they don't sell anything, they're giving it away for free. So once you're here and if you're like walking around, search for a garage sale.
Also, the KIC, we usually try to do a furniture giveaway in the fall. We had one in August of this year where we did like, so people from the community, the Mankato and the greater Mankato community all donated furniture items for our students. And so we were able to do a giveaway for students to be able to take those furniture. So again, that's an additional cost that students don't think about, is if you're getting an empty apartment and you're coming here and you get here at 11 p.m. at night and you don't have a bed, now you're going to have to sleep on the floor because you don't have a mattress or anything. So really be mindful, because you're also going to be coming in the winter time. In the spring, it's going to be cold and we don't want you guys outside freezing. So prepare in advance. If you do a furnished unit, it's going to cost a little bit more, but that also means you don't have to buy furniture. So think about it that way. It's not necessarily always a bad thing. Sometimes it just means when you move out, you just move out with what you moved in with. is more convenient, but ultimately that's your choice. One more thing. So when you're living in the dorms, what you're looking at is a set amount that you're paying. You're not paying for anything separately. When you live off campus, it's most likely not going to be the same. So like it says on the screen, utilities are not always included, which means there's different, you'll have to sign up for electricity, you're gonna have to sign up for Wi-Fi, you might have to pay for water, and these are all gonna be different bills. So you need to be able to keep track of those bills and be responsible and make sure you're paying them on time, especially rent. You have to pay them on the first of every month. If it's late, you get a fee, like a fine. So you have to be really responsible if you are going to be living off campus and knowing that there's a lot of other additional costs that come with living off campus. This is not to like deter you from living off campus. Again, like I said, I've always lived off campus. The only thing I'm trying to say is you have to be very mindful and you have to plan it and make sure that you're being responsible because again, you're going to be in a new country without your family possibly, and nobody's going to be able to tell you what to do. Nobody's going to tell you, hey, did you pay your rent? You have to know when to do it yourself. So, okay, somebody asked, for international students accompanied by dependents, how can I be assisted to get accommodation off campus? So again, like I said, the off campus link that I posted in the chat is going to be your best bet at finding the type of unit you want, because then you can kind of say, if you're coming in with dependents and they obviously will need their own room, then you can set 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms and find an apartment that way. I'm losing my voice. Anybody want to say anything else? I'm just going to go check YouTube really quickly if there's any questions. These are really great questions, by the way, and I really appreciate you guys asking them.
I checked the YouTube. There are not non-questions.
Yeah, okay, cool. Awesome. Somebody said hello. I'll respond to that. All right, cool. That was a lot of information, so I'm just gonna let you guys take a breather. And I'm gonna take a breather because my throat hurts from talking so much. Oh yeah, I was writing this earlier, but I don't think, oh, I disappeared. Oh, what the heck? So this was just costs that I was adding, but you can, it's okay. We don't need to see it. That's embarrassing. I applied for housing on October 7th, but didn't get any questions regarding roommate preferences. Can you please tell me why? Housing preferences. Let me quickly look at their, do you guys have any input on that?
I would say that really, I think depends on the residential life, which we aren't. But we you can communicate those questions with the residential life. Just because we are not sure what they're changing, there could be little tweaks in the process. Maybe the housing is just getting a lot of applications. I am not
Okay,
sure.
so
Yeah.
can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
So here it says that you applied for housing between October 7th, which is when you applied, and February 14th. They will not ask for your room or roommate preference in the housing application because you are on track to choose your own roommate and room in the spring, which means you applied right on time to be able to pick your own room and also pick your own roommate. So just make sure you're reading through everything. If you do apply after February 14, you will be asked to rank your room type preferences in the application, and then they will assign you a room and a roommate. But because you applied right on time, you're all on track, so you're good. But again, like Amal said, We don't do any of the residential end of things. So if you have any more like specific questions about the application and things like that, reach out to the residential life. Alrighty. It was really great having you guys here. I feel like we went through a lot of information in a very short period of time. Like I said, you can rewatch this video on YouTube whenever you'd like. Amal and Udai are great resources as well for you if you have any questions about student life or anything specific like that. They are usually reachable on our social media, which is again KICMNSU. If you DM us on Instagram, Amal or me, we usually will do our best to respond to you as soon as possible. But other than that, I hope this was helpful. Our next our next visa webinar is happening on November 7th. So that is when I will meet you guys. Udai and Amal most likely will not be joining us for those, but if there's any other sessions in the future, I know I had asked if they could join us for travel to Mankato. If they're able to join, they'll be here and they'll be able to answer your questions on a more personal student to student level. But I really appreciate Amal and Udai for being a part of this session today. I really appreciate it because your input is very important for our students. And for those that are watching again, thank you for joining us. As usual, I see a lot of familiar faces, names, which makes me really happy to know that you guys are staying on track with the webinars. And hopefully this helps you get prepared for spring semester. I'm all celebrating for you guys, which is great. And for those people that are still waiting for your visa interviews or you have your visa interview coming up, good luck. You guys are going to do great. Just be confident. Have short, concise answers. We've been through this before. We've done enough visa prep sessions to know. Amal and Udai also do provide free visa prep sessions for our students, which I know a lot of you guys have signed up for. But do Amal and Udai have like a very short advice for students that have visa appointments coming up? Really quick advice.
Have a visa or like the visa preparation session?
Visa appointment on the day of their interview.
Oh, be honest. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't lie. They can tell you're lying. Yeah. So be honest and be straightforward and keep your answer short. That's like, yeah.
No,
Otherwise,
remember why you applied to our university. Remember why you applied to our university.
Yeah.
Like when you
Yeah.
answer, think about what attracted you to our university, and like you guys said, answer honestly. Amal.
And honestly, if people before you, if you see how they are getting refusals, do not start panicking because your case is your case. You are one different unity, your entity, and
Unity.
don't worry at all. There's like a lot of people got refused their like traveler visas right before me, and I started panicking, but then no, stop it. Stop, don't do that. That's the bad experience.
Yeah, good luck with everything. And as always, if you have questions, please feel free to email me. I will be out of the office tomorrow until Monday. So if you reach out to me tomorrow or something, I will not be able to get back to you until Tuesday. So please be patient. Sometimes it just takes me some time to get through emails because I do get a lot of emails. So I hope you guys can be patient and understanding in that there's not a lot of people and there's a lot of emails. So with that, I will see you guys in our next webinar session. Thank you so much. Have a good morning, evening, night, wherever you are. It's been great having you, and it's been great having Amal and Udai as well. And have a good rest of your night, day. Bye.